Dear students, today we are going to learn about telephone skills. In this modern world, telephone plays vital role in various departments. Various companies recruiting their candidates by telephone calls. By this way, they are shortlisting their candidates and saving their time and energy. So, it's very important to know about the basic skills by handling telephone calls. So it's somewhat different from speaking with the person face to face, because when you face the person, the other person can see your gestures and your face, and he can understand your way better than telephone calls. But in this telephone call, the person can't see your face. So all that plays vital role is your voice. So your voice should be very moderate, polite, and in this way it won't be misinterpreted by the other person, because it shows all our attitude and our respect, and how we are thinking about the other person. Everything will be judged by our voice. So, in this lesson, we can then learn how we can handle the telephone calls. So, the basic telephone skills. So, basic skills. So, when we are about to call the other person, it's very important to schedule our calls, because we shouldn't disturb the other person in his busy schedule, or so the person may be indulged in some other activities, so he may hurry up in his answering the calls. So if we are making the call, we should schedule the call, and courtesy plays a vital role. We should use polite words, and our modulation should be polite also. So courtesy is the main thing while speaking in the telephone. So then, while we after conveying the message or getting the message, while hanging up the phone, we have to do it gently. If you bang the receiver, it should be heard by the person, and it will convey the unspoken word that you are not at all pleased with that person, or you are feeling happy while speaking with that person. So it will be a very rude attitude, the by hanging up the phone in a very rude way. And it is a saying that you should not do not slam the receiver. It's very rude. So effective telephone skills. While we are receiving a call, we should be ready mentally and physically to receive or listen the message actively, and keeping our emotions in check. It means that we may confront a various situations in our day-to-day life, but the caller didn't unaware didn't aware of our situations. So we shouldn't show off our emotions to the innocent person. So we should be ready, and then only we have to attend the calls. And we should not drag the call by speaking some unnecessary things. We should listening for specific information, what we are seeking for, or what the caller is asking for. And by listening to the message, we have to ask questions when necessary. Then only we can clarify our doubts about the information we are receiving, or the things we are conveying. So, some of the roadblocks to this telephone skills is distractions. While speaking with a person, we should not pay attention to some other issues around us. And these are the interruptions make us distract from the calls. So, While receiving a call or making a call, three parts of the calls, there are three parts are taking place. The first one is introduction, then we are shifting to the purpose of the call, then we are concluding by greeting the other person. So, introduction, we have to introduce ourselves properly. We should not speak in a very ambiguous way, and we should convey we are Mr. or Miss so and so, and you are belong to some of the departments or your company's name, and whatever you are belong to make the other person identify you. Okay, so introduction is must, and after the introduction the person will understood that who you are. Then the you are shifting to the purpose of the call. So we should not interfere about his day-to-day life or consuming their time. We should straightly goes to the purpose of the call. Why did you make the call? So you have to ask the or convey the message. Then you can you have to uh, get the information from the receiver, and may make the purpose done. Then you have to conclude the message by thanking the person or inform the person about the next step, some of the things in a very polite way, and by this you have to end the call also. So there are various types of telephone calls: information calls, complaint calls, telemarketing calls, collection calls. So every there is a lot of calls are done nowadays. Information calls, we are making calls to get some of the information, or receiving calls, the other person is asking information from us. Complaint calls, the most of the calls we are making to the customer cares about our complaints. While handling complaint calls, the receiver has to be very emotionally balanced. He should be aware that the other person is complaining not about him, but the company or the product he has received which is fault. So he should he should be in a very objective way, impersonal way. He should handle the matters. The other person may be the customer may be very much annoyed, and he may spoke very badly. So the first thing is he should listen properly, and we should be sorry for the inconvenience caused to him because of the product. Then you have to ask sorry for the in behalf of the company. So by this way you have to calm the person, and what's the help he is needed by making that call. So then only the customer will be satisfied. So handling complaint calls, it's a very difficult job, and it's very much skill is needed there. Telemarketing calls, it is making for the purpose of selling or receiving some of the products. Collection calls, these are the calls while the person or the bank maybe sanctioned money, and they are receiving making calls to collect the money. For this purpose the collection calls been made. So these are the basic skills about telephone calls. We should be very polite while speaking with the person, and we should be schedule our calls, and we should be aware of that three parts of the calls are very important. Introduction, we have to give proper introduction of ourselves. Then we have to be very clear about the purpose of the call. Then we have to greet the person in a very good way, and by concluding the calls. So we should not be distracted by any other surroundings while making the call. Make ourselves calm in a calm place, so that we should not be distracted, and the other person also be heard our message properly. So thank you students for listening the class. in a very calm manner. Thank you.